Studio 12 on this Wednesday from the south end zone of Kyle Field. Will Johnson and Matt Simon with you, and we've been pushing for this for a long time. We've got just a good old-fashioned Twitter feud spill right here into the studio today, man. And we could get some fireworks.
Hey, it gets serious in the South, man. Falcons and Saints.
Yeah.
It's a big deal. And then we were talking, so we've got Mitch Cole and Amir Abdur-Rahim with us from Aggie basketball. Amir, a self-proclaimed diehard Falcons fan, even though there was some Twitter evidence that you might have backed off that a little bit last year. Now you're back. They're in first place.
Well, they're 6-2.
I was back about 2 months after that. It's just, little.
You got to vent the frustration.
Yeah, you got to vent the frustration a little bit. But, we probably had the best head coach in all of the NFL in Dan Quinn. So, I'm not going to argue about it right now.
And then Mitch Cole will with the, he represents the New Orleans faction of the Aggie basketball staff, which is quite strong. Your Saints, not as high in the standings, but they won the game when they met on the field. So it's kind of a,
I'm glad you brought that up because that's really usually what matters in a rivalry is who actually wins the head-to-head. So.
Does Amir forget that too often?
I think he does at times.
I
try to remind him.
I try not to forget. because if you can remember last year, the Falcons actually swept the Saints. Both of us are pretty bad in a bad NFC South, but we swept them. We went down to the Superdome and we put it on them. Good thing is we get them back in the Georgia Dome in a couple weeks, and we'll have our revenge.
See, that could if I want that next Falcons Saints game to have a lot on the line in the South. Because I want to watch it with you two.
Will's hosting the watch party.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you know what? If the Saints keep rolling like they're rolling the last 3 games, they play well. Starting with us, we gave them all the momentum they needed.
Jump-started our season pretty much.
And if the Falcons can, kind of get back on track, it should be sitting there pretty good.
That's right.
With us and the Saints and the Panthers. The Panthers are rolling. But
Can I ask Amir one question about the Falcons?
This is a free-for-all show here, man.
Yeah, and I want to be kind and, civil about this, but how many Super Bowls have the Falcons won?
We haven't won any yet. We'll get our first one this year. And then we'll have the same amount as the Saints.
Been to one.
See, that's like growing up in New Orleans, I know how this is too.
Right.
The fact that you as a Saints fan can actually use that term of winning a Super Bowl, it's pretty.
That's right.
It's pretty rarefied air there, but you got one.
Hey, one every half century, it works.
I tell you this. After having Aaron Brooks as your quarterback for as long as he was their quarterback, and the Saints were gifted a Super Bowl, just so you know. We're not gonna say why.
That's a whole nother show
We're
topic.
Not gonna say
there.
why,
Been through this.
Didn't they pick 6 Peyton Manning?
Can't get into that right now for some political reasons.
That's a whole nother show topic there, Will. That's a whole nother show. But, we brought these guys on, and we got basketball. The other thing we've been pushing for is basketball's here.
Yeah.
It is here.
Yeah, it has arrived. Friday night, the exhibition, A&M will host sister school, Texas A&M International at Reed Arena. A lot of anticipation for this season, guys, and some of it is an influx of new talent, yet you do have really 4 seniors on this team who have great experience in college basketball. People may think about the 3 seniors with Daniel House, Alex Caruso, and Jalen Jones, but you got another one in Anthony Collins who comes over from South Florida. And I'll start with you, Mitch, then go to you, Amir. Just your excitement level to really get this thing going and see this team against a true different opponent on Friday night in A&M International.
Yeah, I think it's been a long time coming since getting all these guys on campus in June, having them for 3 straight months where they've been knocking heads with each other through Amir's individual workouts or practice, and then the European trip, which we were able to play some different opponents, thankfully. But that was 3 months over the summer. And then obviously the 2 months, September and October here. It's that time. It's time to play against somebody else. And we had a closed scrimmage last week, which went well, and we're hoping to carry forth some momentum from that.
Yeah, and Amir, I keep talking about excitement level.
Yep.
If you could pinpoint 1 or 2 things, having seen this team for so long against each other in that gym, when you get that opposing team across from them, even though it's an exhibition on Friday night, if you could pinpoint 1 or 2 things, I'm excited to see what is the filling in of that blank for you.
I'll tell you this. The 2 things that I would say are, 1, how hard these guys compete. And the second thing is the depth. And I think, as crazy as it sounds, that's the thing in practice where, we've been in practice some days and, we'll split the teams up and you really couldn't tell which five, were the better five, to be honest with you. I mean, because, they all play hard. They all ask you, they all do exactly what you ask them to do. But, I mean, it's no drop off, when we put different guys in, different lineups in. Like you said, the influx of new talent has been great, and I think it's given everyone a new sense of energy, about, what we're going into. But I can't, and Coach Cole would probably agree with me on this, is that I don't think anybody can talk enough about how well all four of our seniors have, kind of grabbed all those young guys and brought them along, and just helped them and coached them. So it's been really exciting.
And Mitch, you've been in this business a long time too. Is that a big key when you have such a young? Everyone's talking about these freshmen and how talented they are, but in the years that you've had incredibly successful teams with a young class, do you really have to have that senior leadership to almost just let the freshmen play, huh?
I think it's good to have the 4 seniors in place because it doesn't put as much pressure on the freshmen. They're highly touted. Everybody thinks they're really good, which they are. But if they were coming in without these seniors, they would have so much more pressure on them. And so to have some guys to look up to and to be able to say, hey, these guys do it. They do it every day. They bring it. We need to bring our level to that. And then have the freedom to make some mistakes. If everything was riding on them, you'd see some ups and downs more so than them being there. So the trick for us and the challenge is to try to blend these talented guys with our veterans and what combinations can we play with. And every day as a staff we're talking about these things. If this guy's in the game, what do we run? If this combination's in the game, what can we go to? And the beauty of it, you got some versatility and you got some depth. The challenge is you may not find that out for a couple of games because we just haven't played other people. So that's the importance of this exhibition game and the scrimmage and some of the inter squads we do is just finding those combinations and who can play with one another the best.
And I'm glad Amir brought up the depth because I wanted to ask you about that. Last year, that as talented a team as you had, as you're building this depth year to year to year, just one injury kind of throws everything out of whack. And as close as you were to making the tournament, you just missed. But this year, I would think the depth is something that you guys are going to be able to circle in February and March and say, this is going to help us big time down the stretch.
Yeah, and how we develop that depth is important. But if you look back to last year, Daniel goes down last couple of games. Alex Caruso gets sick. All of a sudden, you look out there, and we've got freshman Alex Robinson, freshman Peyton Allen, freshman Tony Trocha. All those guys were counted on late in the season. And we go from a fairly veteran or upper-class team to freshmen. And so it was tough down the stretch because of that reason. Now we do have some freshmen coming in, but when you add Anthony Collins, who's a senior, older, Tony and A-Rob and those guys are 1 year older, and then these freshmen who have played a lot of games, even in high school and AAU, they've got some experience behind them. That makes for a good group.
Amir, Abdur-Rahim, and Mitch Cole from our men's basketball staff joining us on this Wednesday edition of Studio 12. Amir, we're talking about some seniors here. We mentioned the seniors, and if you're in Aggieland, it's easy to know House and Jones and Caruso. But we talked about that fourth one earlier,
Right.
and maybe we can expand on him a little bit. If you don't know Anthony Collins, you almost just have to read the bio and look at the accolades. I mean, this is a talented individual coming into the program.
I tell you this, he is super, super talented. We were actually just talking about this over lunch. I think, as talented as he is, I mean, if you're not watching him close enough during the game, you might miss a whole bunch because he's so fast, so quick, you'll be like, where did he go? But I think what he brings to the table that you can't talk about enough is just his cerebral, just thought process of what he brings to the game. I mean, the dude is, he thinks like you want a point guard to think. He's thinking one step ahead. It's great to hear him in practice. We talk about communication a lot in practice, and it's our job as coaches to kind of set that communication. But you need feedback. You need to get these different thoughts and whatever they're thinking in their head. You need that feedback from him, and he's probably been one of our best guys. And hey, coach, let me know. Tell me what we're looking for in this. And a lot of times you're thinking that they get it, and he wants to get it all because he wants to be able to kind of be that coach on the floor and direct traffic. And, you know, hey, we're not running this play until everybody's in the spot that we want him in. So, I mean, he's been a breath of fresh air for our team as far as, you know, leadership goes, communication goes. And then, like I said, I mean, you will literally – like he'll be on one end of the floor 1 second and then in the paint on the other end of the floor the next second.
Yeah.
And like we've looked at each other a couple times during practice, like, golly, how did he fit through there? Like, how did he get there so fast? You know, so he's been great for us.
And for anybody who doesn't know, an impressive number on him. He played at South Florida. He comes from the American Athletic Conference, where you're going night in and night out against the UConns, the Memphises, the Cincinnatis. He led that conference in assists last year.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a talented player that is a major part of what you're doing coming up. But I like what you said earlier about, you know, these freshmen, they're getting their feet wet in the college environment, but having that group of seniors, they'll benefit from that long down the road after their freshman year, learning from these type of guys.
No, they will. I'll tell you this, and not to talk about any other schools or because we're all about Texas A&M here, but, I mean, you look at, you know, Duke last year when they won their national championship. Everybody would talk about Okafor and Winslow and Tyus Jones, but nobody talks about Quinn Cook, Matt Jones, and those guys that they had, you know, what's the other big kid's name that they have? I can't think of his name, but the other big kid, 6'8" kid that comes off the bench. They had so much experience to go with the talent of the freshmen. Same thing with Kentucky a couple years ago when they won their national championship. You know, nobody talks about, you know, the two guards that they had that were there, you know, that helped out. It was huge for those guys, you know. So for our guys, I mean, you have Caruso, who's led the SEC in assists 2 years in a row. Anthony Collins, who, like you said, led the AAC in assists last year. Daniel House, first team All-SEC. Jalen Jones, second team All-SEC. And you're bringing this nucleus of group guys back to add on to three guys or all four guys who won state championships. So they know what it's about. They know it's about winning, and they know what it takes. And now all they have to do is just learn how to do it every day at this level, because it is a higher demand on their time, higher demand on their body. So it's been great for them.
Back on the Wednesday edition of Studio 12, Matt and Will with you. We've got Amir, Abdur-Rahim, and Mitch Cole with us, Texas A&M basketball, talking about the Aggies starting their season with an exhibition game on Friday night at Reed. Those of you listening out of town, coming on in for the football game, make sure you stop by and watch the Aggies' 7 o'clock tip-off for that game against International. Just got a text from Tap Bentz, who does color commentary for us on SEC Network Plus broadcast for women's games. A New Orleans native himself.
Saints fan.
He said he's coming to the watch party. So you're about to get outnumbered pretty quickly there, Amir.
Do you always feel outnumbered, Amir? Because it's all these Saints fans, and you're the Falcons
guy.
guy.
You know, I am a little bit outnumbered, but I tell you this, I got a guy that's pretty important to Texas A&M and our center, Mike Matthews. So, you know, hey, like he has to support his brother. I mean,
Fair enough.
Right.
And, I mean, we've had these conversations in Slocum, and, you know, we talk a little Falcons football. So, I mean, if I had to go into a street fight with somebody, that's who I want with me. You know,
that's fair. That's a fair statement. So now he's going to start bringing muscle to try to feel like
you got to intimidate him somehow.
Well, I mean, you know what?
Hey, we're known for a few bounties ourselves, so you know, we might have to pull that out.
That's
If we need
you
to.
know, what's going to spill over into the studio today? This is going to get good. See, I don't know if the Saints have an Aggie.
I don't know.
Mitch, if the Saints don't have an Aggie, I can't root for them.
Except for, I think the owner's daughter is.
Benson and
I know what you're talking about.
Rita LeBlanc or something like that.
She doesn't count.
Yeah, I'm gonna agree with Amir on that one. Yeah, I'm gonna agree with
She's
Amir.
tough from what I hear.
Mitch is reaching. Mitch is reaching over here.
Reaching, man.
Mitch, I wanted to ask you about, because I don't think I've seen you since then, the Europe tour. Obviously, you're going over there to play and to see what your guys can do on the floor, but it's got to be more about the off-the-court stuff, isn't it? The bonding and the team, building the team, building that chemistry, which by all accounts is incredibly good on this team.
Yeah, and you're right. It's not just about the games in Europe. It's about, first of all, the 10 practices you get to have before you go over. So when you think of 10 legit practice opportunities in the summertime with these new guys coming in, that was helpful. And then, once we get over there, we played 4 games, but honestly, to have our staff and our players and some donors and some different people all eating dinner together, experiencing some unique cultures, seeing some things that none of us would ever see, especially our student athletes, just to see them, in Athens or at the Roman Colosseum, and experience some of those things was really a treat. And, as well as I do, if you travel with people and you're in hotels and buses and planes and you see the good and the bad, so it can't help but bring people together. So I think more than anything, it was a great bonding trip and just fun. It was fun for us to exhale a little bit from all the pressure that everybody seems to feel at times and just go over there, have some fun, compete, but also spend some time together as a team.
And we had Daniel House and Jalen Jones on the show a little while back, and we asked them about Europe, and that was the fun part of the off season. Not long after was probably the more difficult part of it. And Amir, they went through boot camp.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys had a Marine down here, or a Navy SEAL, I think it
yeah.
was, to take these guys through a weekend boot camp, and I thought it was unusual in the morning hours of 4 or 5 a.m. You may have seen a basketball player running through this campus with logs on their shoulders and things, but that's a bonding experience for this crew, isn't it?
Oh, no question about it. I mean, a lot of times you look back on those experiences that you have, like throughout the season, to help lift you up and build you up. And having Commander McGinnis down and the Navy SEALs, I mean, it was great for our guys. I think one of the hardest things to do in college athletics, I mean, when you think about it, is you're bringing a bunch of different guys and athletes from different backgrounds and different, places in the country and in the world. For us, with, guys being from Columbia on our team, and you're trying to get them to have one common goal, and as many experiences as they can go through, to help them realize that, it's not about me, it's about the team, it's about the program. I think the better. So, when we brought the Navy SEALs in, and I'll tell you a quick funny story. I thought the funniest thing ever was watching them wake up the first morning, and they come in with the horn, and I mean, it is, and I'm talking about these dudes, they have no clue, and that horn goes off, and these dudes are like, what is going on, But the great part about that, and what we kind of talk to our guys about, is, embracing the journey, enjoying the journey. And, it was by that last day that the SEALs were here, they go in there and they blow that horn. Man, them guys are jumping up. They're ready to go because, you know what, hey, we've been through it before. We've been through this together. So, like we talk about, they were under those logs. You've been under the log with this guy. This guy has your back. So, it was a great experience for him.
Amir, Abdur-Rahim, Mitch Cole with us, Texas A&M basketball. The Aggies Friday night at 7 against A&M International. Exhibition opener. The regular season opener is next Friday, the 13th at 8:30 against USC Upstate. And, Will, you've been here about as long as I have. This home schedule is just fantastic. This might be the best home schedule. I think it's the best one I've seen since I've been here in almost about 20 years. K-State, Baylor, Iowa State, Arkansas, Florida, Kentucky. I'm sure I'm missing some people. Vanderbilt, Missouri. I mean, you talk about Iowa State's coming, too. I forgot about them. The excitement, Mitch, to, this is why you're in a league like the SEC, but to also bring in some power. You got a great draw in the league at home, and then to bring in some power teams from out of the league. Also some that fans are familiar with. It's got to be an incredible, exciting home schedule for you guys to show the fans.
Well, it's great for the fans. It's hard on the coach's health, I think, and our stress level. But for sure, if you're looking for a fan experience and just seeing quality basketball in Reed Arena, we've got it this year. I mean, you're talking about Kansas State, Big 12 opponent, Iowa State, top 10, Baylor, and again, we're talking about just away from Reed Arena, the Bahamas trip, the Battle for Atlantis. That's as good of a tournament as you'll ever see. So 7 of our non-league games are high major teams, and then the 6 other ones that we're bringing in are quality mid-major opponents, that some of whom have done well and been in the NCAA tournament
Dunk
recently.
City. The
Dunk
Florida
City.
Gulf Coast coming
That's
to
right.
town,
Yeah,
if you
that's
remember
right.
them.
Yeah.
USC Upstate, our first opponent, has beaten Mississippi State and South Carolina in the last 2 years. So, it's going to be a quality non-conference schedule. And I think what we're trying to do with that schedule, what Coach Kennedy's really trying to do, is generate some more excitement, more enthusiasm, get that momentum behind our guys who have put in the work. And whenever we feel the 12th man and we see the students out there and and all the other fans from the community. It just gives us a shot in the arm. It's good for basketball. It's good for our guys, and it's good for recruiting. It's good for everything. So scheduling is a big part of that.
Yeah, it was a great schedule last year. It's probably the best in 25 years A&M had played a season ago. It took you guys 1 year to top it, so it's even better this year. But before you guys go, Amir, I know you got the new guys in town, DJ Hogue, Admon Gilder, Elijah Thomas, and Tyler Davis, that Dallas foursome that has entered the program. Just an update on those guys. How are they adjusting to the college game and playing at this high a level, as all four could be valuable to you this year?
No, absolutely. All four will be valuable. And they're adjusting, at different paces, which is expected. But all four of them bring something just great to the table. The one thing that we're excited about with them is that we really don't have to coach effort with them. Sometimes as a freshman, like I said, the demands on your time, the demands on your body, they can get worn down, and you tend to end up coaching more effort than anything just across the board. I think people would say that in college basketball. But, like I said, all four of them bring something, different to the table. Admon Gilder is a guy that I think Aggie fans are going to love, just because he plays with a tenacity and physicality that, I think they're accustomed to seeing. He reminds you of the AC Laws and the Donald Sloans and those guys, and just a guy that can put the ball in the basket. You don't have to run a play for him. You look up and he's going to have 10 to 12 points, just based on what he does. DJ Hogue, his ability to shoot the ball is unbelievable in the close scrimmage. I thought he was. Coach Cole probably agreed with us. He was awesome in that scrimmage shooting the ball. Tyler Davis, he's like the Admon Gilder, but in the post, just big physical guy. He's gonna give you everything he has. And then Elijah Thomas will be really good for us. He's been beat up a little bit lately, but he'll be good for us. Once he gets back.
All right, we appreciate the time, guys, and we're going to set up this watch party for, I think it's the last game of the regular season.
I think
we're
that's
get that
right.
done.
Falcons.
Yeah.
Man,
Falcons.
what if that's for the South title?
Oh,
now we're talking.
In Atlanta, it's over. You can.
Hey, now if it's for the South title, that means Atlanta may have slumped a little bit to let the Saints get back.
That'd be bad.
Probably going to happen.
Mitch Cole, Amir, Abdur-Rahim, thank you guys for coming in. Again, Texas A&M basketball is at home on Friday night, A&M International, and then the regular season opener the following Friday. Season tickets on sale now, family packs on sale now, and single games through November. The rest of the games, except for Kentucky, go on sale around Thanksgiving week. 12fan.com/tickets, and we hope to see everybody out there at Reed Arena.